Hi, I'm Chris with CLP Studios.
Jim Grundy, Sisu Energy.
If you follow us on social media, thank you first of all. My job as a content creator is to kind of provide a window, establish some culture, really just inform potential future drivers and the world to what Sisu Energy is doing. So I thank you, Jim, for joining me today, and let's get raw and uncut. Discussion, the first thing you said, markets are in panic. I want you to go ahead and explain what that means.
Markets in panic. The winter we just had wasn't very strong. Natural gas has plummeted 75% since the start of February. You're seeing the outlook though for natural gas the rest of the year is up, right? So it seems to be the market oversold natural gas, but the consequence to that is you've seen a downturn in the activity in our space for oil and gas production. And it's important to understand what factors affect oil and gas production and put those on the table so folks out there know what they're getting into when they want a job at Sisu and they see last year our guys are doing upwards of $24,000 a week. Right now that's just not available in our space. It's not, but we have guys doing $18,000 and $17,000 a week. Those 20 plus thousand opportunities are coming. But the market had to go through this, it was kind of working through some of this geopolitical tensions going on over there with Ukraine and Russia, understanding how interest rates rising, how they impact commodities, a warm winter. All those things had a dire effect on natural gas production. And the domino effect is it's impacting folks that are producing oil because you're getting competing bids now, and you're getting folks out there, lowballing or undercutting folks that have already been in place doing work because they're afraid that natural gas isn't going to rebound. But the reality is it's coming. It's just going to be, Q1 wasn't pretty, right? We were down 22% year over year, but that's okay. And that 22% just measures our oil and gas activity, but that's why it's imperative that you have to diversify and have other opportunities out there that fit into our strategy and aren't as sensitive as what we're seeing in oil and gas.
So you mentioned, there's some 22% declines in some areas. You said companies are going away. Explain that to me one more time.
Yeah, because of our size, 22% decline when a lot of our peers are 50% and higher. It's important to understand that our size and our adaptability, our agility in what we're able to do really limits our exposure. So we don't live or die by one industry. We don't live or die by one mode of transportation. Something can happen today, and cool, we're out there, we're knocking on doors and finding other opportunities. But really, what I was saying is that's always what we've done. Even when things are good, we weren't resting on our laurels and saying, hey, we're satisfied. We've never been satisfied, right? We get satisfaction at times when we see our team do great things, but as a company, we're just not a satisfied company. There's people out there still looking for work. There's still people still trying to claw back their lives from the pandemic, and there's still opportunity to be had. And until we feel that we've helped every person out there that wants to join Sisu and be a part of our family, we're going to keep grinding. That's a guarantee.
So how do you think that directly impacts the driver's outlook?
I think information is paramount. At the end of the day, the driver's got to make a decision what's best for them. And our job is to be as truthful and honest with them and tell them about, hey, here's the current market conditions. Here's why you're seeing, you're seeing 15 loads in 1 week versus 22, right? Here's what's going on. And we're very honest with our fleet. They understand it. We've had zero turnover. They're on board with it. They understand what we're doing. They trust us to go out and find what is available to them, and they ensure that if we're not in that industry now, they have faith that we will be shortly. But I think knowledge is power, and I don't know, own the reality, own the now, and I think we do a good job of that, and just tell people the truth. Like, hey, you can't keep having interest rates rise to the level they are, and you can't have a warm winter and not think it's not going to impact oil and gas. It's going to, but the reality is whether it's negative is up to us. What that's asked us to do is adapt. So while it's been negative on the industry, it can be a blessing if you let it be, where it forces you to either cut your fleet down to match the current work volume, or you diversify and you find more work in other areas that keep your guys just as busy as they were, and reduces some leverage in our space. And when you're having these volatile moments that we're in right now, where you see natural gas plummet 75%, in 1 month, companies out there that have been running for natural gas companies are hurting. They haven't diversified.
I'm a big time blogger and a podcaster, and there's a lot of the Elon Musks of the world. All these big figures said, save your money, there's some type of crash coming, do you think that's exactly what's happening now? What do you think the next year or two looks like?
I think the market's been resilient, actually. When you look at what's happened with the banking system over the past month, and the scares that are out there with, like Silicon Valley and such, the market's shown to be resilient. And matter of fact, it's bounced higher since some of these events. I think what you're going to see is, as the year progresses and we get into an election year, I think you're going to see a little bit more instability on the market. I don't think we're in correction territory. I don't think we're in a bear market. I think you're just going to see it bounce back and forth, and the ebbs and flows are going to be there. But how the market reacts to us, I think oil and gas is in a prime spot. I think you're going to see it increase the rest of the year. I think it's been sold off a little too much. Natural gas is way too low. It needs to be probably around 4 British thermal units. Right now it's at about 230, so there's a good upside there. Oil and gas should finish around $80 to $90 per barrel. Right now it's in the high 60s, low 70s. So there's upside definitely in what we're doing, and the rest of the year, as of right now, appears promising.
You mentioned diversifying, always staying one step ahead. Talk about diversifying. Enlighten me on maybe some things I didn't know, some things to come.
You diversify to limit your to limit leverage, and so right now our focus, because we've done so much in oil and gas, and we've had so much output in oil and gas, and I really like where we're at. It's kind of like the best time to find a job is when you have a job. The best time to diversify is not when you need to, but when you want to, and that's what we're doing. We're taking the time to. We're comfortable where we're at in oil and gas. We're comfortable with our seat at the table. That doesn't mean we're not taking on more opportunities, but we're also looking outside our industry for opportunities that folks within our industry either have ignored or just not interested in, because there's a lot of things happening outside of oil and gas that can favor our fleet and the owner-operators that run for us.
How would you describe the Permian Basin, West Texas, business relationship with it, South Texas, and then other parts of the country? How would you describe what's happening?
2021 Permian Basin was the bell cow. It was hot. And then 2022, everything transitioned over to South Texas. And we just came off a monster year where 70% of all of our operations were in South Texas. Now we're looking at 2023, and the market seems to try to figure out which way it wants to go. We're kind of seeing West Texas pick back up. We're seeing South Texas stay strong, albeit not as strong as 2022 was. So it's just one of those things where you have to be nimble, agile. You have to expect change. If you're looking for something static in our space, that's just not the reality. It's not going to happen. So things are constantly evolving and moving, and the companies that are successful are the ones that are able to adapt, stay mobile, and stay open to new possibilities and new opportunities.
So now that Sisu Energy, you know, y'all have been around for a little bit longer, right? So tell me about some of the drivers. Just any names that you just really enjoy working with?
Man, I like our team. I don't want to single anybody out like that. We've had folks that have been with us over 5 years now, and they've been incredibly loyal. They're with us for a reason. They make a lot of money at the end of the day. They trust our relationship. They trust what we tell them. But I would argue that the trust that we have with our fleet is more important than the money these guys are making, and it's crazy money. Even right now, when you're seeing a small slump in our space, it's still fantastic money they're making. But we have a trust where we can talk to our fleet in a manner that when we say it, they believe it, and we've earned that over the years. And so, what's going to happen, you know, moving forward? That's why you're not seeing turnover with CC. People aren't leaving our company. Even though, you know, you're down 22% year over year in oil and gas, there's no panic. That's all right. I mean, well, it's coming back. You know, not every hand can be pocket aces. Sometimes you gotta scrape and claw for every inch that you go out there and get, and our team trusts us to do that.
All right, so if you had I got about 2-3 more things, but if you had a call to action to anybody who's willing to drive to Sisu, I want you to look into this camera and give me invite them to come drive for Sisu.
2023 is an interesting year. If you're with a company there right now that you're over leveraged in one industry, or you find yourself backed in a corner where you're not maximizing your asset, your time, your dollar, your energy, and your effort, come over to a company that has options. It's always when adversity hits, you find out what kind of company you're working for. You find out the metal that someone's made of. And I can tell you at Sisu Energy, what we have is that undying spirit that no matter what hits, what happens, whether it's 2020 pandemic, whether it's inflation, whether it's natural gas prices cratering, you know, we don't really blink. It's okay, you know, adapt. Be honest with your team, tell them what's going on and how it's going to impact them, and work together to find solutions. And that formula there has been, it's working, and it's going to continue to work. So I invite everyone out there that's struggling, that we see it, we hear you, we feel it. Come to Sisu Energy. Go to our webpage, www.sisuenergyllc.com. That's SISU EnergyLLC.com.
My job as a content creator and just a guy who's on all your platforms, you know, I want to pick your brain a little bit for CLP Studios' sake. So after the pandemic, we built a website that could handle the application. So I think it's time for a website tweak, a lot of new content on the website. Let me just pick your brain. What do you think we should show the potential driver or the audience that maybe we weren't showing them 2 years ago?
Man, I know the feedback we've gotten is when we do interviews with drivers and they hear from their peers, that goes a long way. When we have just honest dialogue like this, it gets a lot of attention. When people want to hear the truth, right? You go look online now and you're going to see advertisements for sign-on bonuses, and look at this crazy revenue. We're here to tell you, like, hey guys, right now what oil and gas just went through in the last 3 to 6 months is off the highs from 2022 and late 2021. It's not that it's not in utter decline, but there's been a decline. It's okay to own that. At this point, I think it's more imperative to build relationships and focus on truth with people and that want to join our industry, so they can know what they're getting into. Because it's a big commitment doing what we do. It's not like you're home every night or home every weekend. There's guys who are out on the road for 30 to 45 days straight. And they need to know what they're getting into, and they need to understand the risk.
We recently went viral again on TikTok, and that was just out of the blue, you know. I gotta give Leslie credit on that one. Just the way, the way she titled it. Next thing you know, I get a message from you saying, hey, you see how many likes? I think you said maybe we have 6,000 likes. And then I look at the video itself, and the comments are just pouring in. Everybody's favoriting the video, but there's a lot of people saying, oh, there's no way this, there's no way that. Come on, disprove all that. I mean, when I looked at these comments, I said, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think last we looked, there was 280,000 interactions on TikTok, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, what advantage does anybody have sending an advertisement or giving out information that is inherently false, knowing that we're just wasting our time and wasting their time? There's not a lot of things out there not a lot of companies out there that do that. We're not selling anything. We're giving people opportunity to get back up on their feet. What they do with that opportunity is their choice. What we're saying is we have a platform that if you want to make 20,000+ a week, we have the ability to do that. You have the ability to partner with us and do that. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing's promised. You only get out of life and out of opportunity what you give. We're not driving the trucks. We're not, adhering to, the FMCSA hours of service rules. We're not doing the maintenance on the tractors. All those things come into play, but all we've said is if you want to maximize your dollar, find an outfit and find a company that gives you that chance to make that kind of money. Whether you do or not, it's up to you, right? We have guys in our fleet that are happy making $12,000 a week revenue. There's nothing
wrong with.
There's nothing wrong with that at $12,000. I mean, they're taking home $6,000, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's over $250,000 a year. That's fantastic.
Per week.
And then we have guys out there that are, don't want to name drop them. I'm sure they have family probably watching this and they get hit up for loans, but we have guys that are due over $20,000 every week by clockwork, right? They're going to clear $750,000, $800,000 a year revenue-wise and take home anywhere from 40 to 50% of that.
So no matter how viral we go, no matter how many likes we get, no matter how many people apply to drive for Sisu, you said something on the last Shop Talk Plus. You said the insurance company determines who drives for us.
Yeah.
I want you to explain that to me.
Yeah, insurance is a high dollar game right now. I mean, that's our biggest expense. We spend almost $2 million a year on insurance. It's the driver's biggest expense outside of their maintenance and fuel. And you want to partner with an insurance company that's rated A+. And so when you do that, though, you have to adhere to their rules because they don't just insure everybody. They want to make sure that you have the practices and procedures in place from a safety perspective and you're putting the best folks forward. Because at the end of the day, if there's something catastrophic happens, they're the ones having to pay it out. Everybody knows that when a diesel truck's involved in a collision, whether it's our fault or not, diesel companies are the ones paying for it. Diesel insurance companies are the ones paying for it. So it's really a microcosm of what's going on throughout our society and how we view truckers and commercial accidents. And so, all they're trying to do is they've got years of data that shows folks under 23 years of age just don't have the experience to manage the roads in a safe manner. They don't have the maturity. It's not super restrictive. It's just, they have guidelines that if we want to partner with them, we have to play by their rules. And, that's fine. It hasn't been a deterrent to us from growing. We've been really fortunate to be the largest pneumatic carrier in our industry. And, we've got 50, 60 folks right now waiting and to join us. But, we're doing the responsible thing and making sure that before we bring anybody on, we take care of what we have. You have a fiduciary duty to these drivers and their families, that when you bring them on, that you have opportunities for them. So there's no point, if you need 60 drivers, there's no point in bringing on 100. What you're doing is, it's not that you're starving 40 of them, you're starving all 100 of them. Because essentially, either they can all eat a little bit or 60 can eat a lot. And that's the route we go. We try to only employ what we know we can maximize. There's no value in having a bunch of a big giant fleet, but no one's really killing it. We'd rather have a smaller number of folks, but all of them are are achieving what it is they want to achieve.
All right, so Jim, I appreciate your time. We spoke about panic in the markets. We spoke about diversifying. We talked about why you should drive for Sisu. We talked about insurance companies choosing who drives for Sisu. We've covered a lot of great material. Sisu is in a lot more cities now. You know, it's in Colorado, Oklahoma, South Texas. Just kind of give me a little, for a content creator's sake, give me a little picture on all the cities that, or states that Sisu Energy is in right now.
We entered Oklahoma last year, Louisiana last year, New Mexico. We've dabbled into Kansas. Texas obviously is our stronghold. We've had interest from Northeast companies to take us up in the Northeast, and that was at the end of Q4. They were asking that, but then when natural gas went down in February, it was kind of a blessing we didn't do that right now. It's not the right time. But, you know, we've had offers to go to Mississippi and the great Northwest up in Oregon and Washington, and cool projects kind of scattered all over that are of interest to a lot of the guys that run for us. But we're gonna, you know, if something makes sense and it fits inside our strategic initiatives, we're gonna look at it hard. And it doesn't matter what geography you're in, right? So my best advice to anyone watching is to stand by and take notes, because you know we're not content. We're not satisfied with where we're at. We'll never be satisfied. But we are looking to grow the company, and there's a lot of ambitious folks behind us that are wanting to see us nationwide. And you know, it's something that we're strongly considering doing. Being the lead bulk carrier, not just in oil and gas, but around the country.
So pretend you're writing the dictionary and you're in charge of defining the phrase Wolfpack mentality. How do you define that?
Man, Wolfpack mentality is understanding that individually I'm nothing, but with my pack or with my family or with my peers, I can do whatever I want to do, right? When you think about a wolf that's by himself in the wild, not that powerful. You think about a wolf and the rest of his family and the pack, it's the most powerful entity in the jungle, right? You know, where you go to Yellowstone and it's you can, there's bears, but then there's wolf packs, and a wolf pack is a dangerous thing to come across. It's that synergy mindset. It's the sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the individual part. And knowing that, you know, that Wolfpack mentality also is, hey, we hunt together, we live together, we eat together, you know, and in a space where drivers typically operate independently, it's finding the right people that join our company, and they have that mentality that they get it, that if I join this group of folks, I have buying power and leverage, and we can do this together, and I have a better chance of survival than I can by myself. All right. Because at the end of the day, if you're not with us, we're coming for you. You're against us. I mean, we're competing. We're competitors. So if you're out there isolated and alone and think you can do it better than we can, great. We're all for you, right? But at the same time, we're competing.
Website for them to apply, what is it?
Yeah, go to www.sisuenergyllc.com. That's SISU energyllc.com, or call us at 817-717-1616. Option 3, I believe. It gets you over to recruiting, and you can talk to Carrie and her team.
We've covered a lot of material. This is a little bit different because the state of the industry is a lot different. So we're not visiting from the barbershop this time because things are a lot real, even in my business, you know. I feel like we took, I would say a 22% swing back, but luckily for us, the diversifying and kind of really experimenting with our processes, we've been able to, kind of take that 40% leap back up front to kind of go up. So markets are down. We're just going to keep adapting, right? So signing out, this is Chris from CLP Studios.
Jim Grundy, Sisu Energy.
All right, thanks for joining us. Keep watching, and we enjoy continuing to create.